Hi, this is Edward Troxel. In today's video, we're going to look at a post from the forums where they had a velocity envelope on an event, and they were wanting to know what the velocity was in between the points that they had set. So they could figure out the points themselves, but looking at the points in between the 2 points was what they wanted to see the velocity was. So let's see how we can do that. Let's look at the project first. In this case, I have a short event on the timeline, and our first velocity here is set at 300%, and then I have another velocity point that's at 0%. Then as we come across, I have one set to 50%. This one is set to minus 100%, and then this one is set to 100%. So what we want to do is actually be able to read like at this point, or this point, or this point, any point in between those 2 points. So let's see how we would do that. Once again, we're starting with our standard script base and just adding in our code for this particular script. We are going to go for each of the tracks in our Vegas project. So for each track, my track in myvegas.project.tracks. And then we're going to look at every event on that track. So for each track event in mytrack.events, if the event is selected, then we're going to look at it. First of all, we are going to look at only video events. I did not put that check in there. I should probably add that check here. If the event selected and event.is video. Then we're going to convert it to a video event, which I'm just calling VEVNT, and so we just use the video event in parentheses here instead of the event variables to change it from a track event to a video event. Then for each envelope, which I'm just calling ENV, in this video event envelopes, I'm looking specifically for an envelope.type that is of type velocity. So if env.type equals envelope type dot velocity, when we press our dot here, you will see the various types of envelopes we have available to us, so we could pick any of these envelopes. Then I'm going to go through every frame of this event. So for an integer variable I starting at 0, as long as I is less than the length of the event, dot frame count. So I'm going to go for every frame, then we're going to increment by 1 each time. So the first thing I'm going to do is set my double variable, which is I'm calling envelope point, and to get the value at that point, I'm getting the envelope dot value at, and then I have to tell it the timecode position I want it. So I'm going timecode dot from frames, and then this variable up here, the variable I. So I'm going to look at the ith frame each time. Then once I have that value, I want to show it on the screen. So I'm using a message box.show, and then I'm saying frame I, and then a colon, and then I'm putting the value of that frame on the screen. So let's see how that works. So we go to Tools, Scripting, Run Script, and run our class 1. And so at the first frame, frame 0, it says it's set to a value of 3. We had it set to 300%. So 3 is actually 300. And then it starts going down as we get to the next one, which is set to 0. So it's just going down and going down, getting smaller and smaller, and getting smaller. Now it's starting to get bigger again, going back up to the 50%. Remember, 50% will be 0.5. So now it's approaching 0.5, and now it's getting smaller again, and it's going to go down to negative 1, which is negative 100%. Notice we're already in the negative numbers. So now we have approached negative 1, and then it's going to start and go back up until we get to 1, which is positive 100. So we see it as past 0, and it's increasing. And I'll go all the way up to the value of 1. And there we hit 1. And then it will remain 1 for the remaining frames. So as you can see, we can actually look at the entire velocity line and get any value at any point along that line. So it doesn't have to be just the points that we look at. We can look at any point along any velocity envelope, or as far as that goes, any envelope. So it doesn't just have to be a velocity envelope. It could be a volume envelope or any of the other envelopes that are available to us. So I hope that you find this tutorial helpful. Subscribe and let me know what types of tutorials you'd like to see in the future. And we'll try to keep these tutorials going as long as people find them useful and have ideas of what they want to see. Thank you very much. See you next time. Please sign up at www.jettv.com and subscribe on YouTube to get further notifications on when new videos are presented.